Bet you weren't expecting that, were you? Hi guys, welcome back to the Marcus the Chess Teacher YouTube channel. You might notice that I am finally recording a video. I know it's been a while. I always seem to say this, don't I, after every video. That's I'm always very busy, etc. But it's true. I reached 5,000 subscribers very recently, and therefore I'd like to try to answer some questions that people have put forward to me. I'm going to do it in a very rudimentary way. You'll notice I've just printed off the questions and then I'm using my Epsom Chess Club branded pen to make sure I don't answer the same ones twice. So let's give it a go. Alright, now, so the first question is, I feel like straight lining is a gateway into adventuring for you. What do you feel like doing next and what would you like to go for? Yeah, I think I used to be reasonably mischievous, but I suppose as you get older you kind of lose that sense of adventure, and I really used to like being outdoors, and you know, I suppose I used to play a lot of sports, football, cricket, golf as well, and as I got older I sort of fell out of doing that sort of thing, and I'd like to get back into them, but you know, as and when, hopefully. Yeah, I think it's been a really good way to get out and about and to push my limits a little bit. You can see that my limits were relatively narrow. They have expanded a lot more since I've done these straight line missions. I think I'll actually come back to that question of what next at the end, because that feels like the appropriate way to end. You might notice I've actually not printed these off in any particular order. I'm just going to answer what came next. So, besides chess, do you play any other board or video games? No, not really. No. It's funny because I've always loved chess, but other board games I could take or leave, really. Scrabble I would go for at Christmas. I've played Monopoly a bit, Cluedo, all the classics really. I think I first learned, before I learnt chess, I learnt Snakes and Ladders. Then my mum taught me drafts, Connect 4. Remember playing that with my granddad, I think. And then finally chess. So I think that sort of gateway into more complex games was the best way to go. Video games, again, not really. I don't own a console or anything. When I was younger, I used to like playing FIFA, and going back a few years now, Age of Empires I used to love, Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I love the Grand Prix series by Jeff Crammond. So I'm a big Formula 1 fan, so Grand Prix 3, Grand Prix 4, I used to play them until the disc was pretty much worn out. So yeah, remember discs. That's all I can say really. I'm not a big video game fan. I did get into Football Manager for quite a few months, but then I realised, you know, it's getting too addictive. Let's stop. Okay. So next question is: are you planning on anything related to straight lines, but in an urban setting? Actually, about a year or two ago, I had a lady contact me from America asking whether we could do a London straight line mission together. But I mean, the problem is, you know, going over people's land in the countryside is maybe not so much of a faux pas, because you're not really disturbing anything. Well, you are to some extent, but you're not going through someone's back garden most of the time. Whereas in an urban setting like London, you'd be intruding on people much more often, and it feels like that would be wrong. I know in GeoWizard's recent urban no roads mission, he tries to avoid stuff like that. So I think that would be a bit beyond my capability. I mean, GeoWizard only just managed his mission across London, and you know, he's much more capable than I am. So I guess probably not, but who knows? You never know. Next one is: who is the strongest player you've ever faced in chess? So when I was about 8, I won a tournament, kids tournament, and one of the prizes was to attend a simul. So a simul is kind of, it's short for a simultaneous exhibition. And it's where one very strong player takes on a load of weaker players all at once. So you make your move, the strong player comes round and then moves on to the other board, and you've got a whole lap to think about your next move before he replies, nearly instantly. And this guy I played was called Sergei Karyakin. So he's a bit, let's say, persona non grata at the minute in the chess community because he has supported Putin's invasion of Ukraine. And he's been ostracised as a result. So I have played him. He was former world number 2 and world championship challenger, I believe, back in about 2012 or around that time. Apart from him, who else have I played? I've faced a guy called Stuart Conquest, who's a grandmaster. He's one of the former British champion, I think, and another British guy called John Ems, who's a grandmaster. I'm sure there are others, but I can't think of them. But I have faced a lot of strong players and lost all of them. So, are you planning on making more videos with other creators? The videos with Tom were very pleasant to watch. Well, thanks. I think that may well be part of how this channel is going to progress, because I actually really like meeting new people and you know, doing adventures with them and just getting to know them. I actually find it a lot of fun, and part of the reason why I liked doing these straight line missions was because I got a new team each time, new challenges, and yeah, it's a very good way of getting to know someone in the wild, let's say. So I think so, yes, there will be videos with other creators at some point, hopefully soon. So what made you originally decide to try these missions, and did you have some outdoor experience prior to it? Well, I think my lack of experience with the outdoors very much was at the forefront of the failure of several of my missions. I did do D.V. when I was at school, and I was also in the Scouts, but in both those instances I wouldn't say that I was necessarily a team leader. So I was more like the guy at the back, you know, not doing a whole lot, and mainly relying on others who are more competent to navigate or whatever. I was kind of just there for the ride. Whereas on these missions I was very much at the forefront and making the decisions myself, and obviously that's a whole different kettle of fish. So yeah, I kind of wanted to try them because, well, there's a lot of reasons. Obviously one of them I think I may have mentioned in the videos, and that is to do with my mental health. So I was for a while suffering from depression, and this is something that is obviously not that easy to talk about, but the idea of doing something in the outdoors it's a whole creative process. Now obviously there's the planning aspect, there's the doing of it, and then there's the editing and the presentation of it. And this whole process it's just a project that's going on at the back of my mind, keeping my mind active and not letting it you know, not let myself fall into a kind of an abyss, which is often an issue with depression, because you kind of start sinking, and the deeper down the hole you get, the harder it is to climb back out. And I was fortunate that I recognised that I was going downhill and sought help, and I think that outdoor adventures such as these have been really positive in dealing with this. So I'd be very happy if anyone has experienced anything like this to get in touch, and I will gladly share my thoughts and experiences. I am very fortunate to have a close friend with whom I can chat about this kind of stuff and who's gone through similar issues. I won't name him, but I think yeah, he's been amazing, so thank you. How much do you enjoy running, and would you consider creating running videos? Well, to tell the truth, I don't like running at all. I find it a bit boring. I mean, I've never been part of a running club or anything like that. I've never really done a park run to date. I did get some decent times in the gym when I did these training runs for the previous mission, which made me think maybe actually I've got a decent level of stamina there. The problem I've got at the minute is my shoes. They're just absolutely hopeless. So whenever I went on this treadmill, I was getting, my toes were getting beaten up basically. And yeah, if I really want to commit to running or doing proper outdoor pursuits other than hiking and all that, then I would need to get some proper shoes. So thank you for the reminder, because I will do that. Any plans to collaborate with GeoWizard in the future? Well, I would like to, yes. I don't want to harangue him because obviously he's a busy man, he's got a young child, a happy marriage, I hope, and yes, I don't want to keep on texting him or messaging him all the time. I think, I think he'll come to me if he wants to collaborate again, but I'd be very welcoming to that idea. So, yeah, sure. As someone who's only played a little bit of chess over the years, who knows how the pieces move and maybe a few bits of strategy here and there, any idea for how to get to the beat your friends tier? Well, there's no silver bullet to improving in chess, but what I would say is that a lot of people, they need to learn basics and know the basics well. So at the start of the game, your aim is to effectively control the center, develop your back row pieces, and castle. Castling is the funny thing you do with the king and the rook if you've never played before. And if you don't do those basic things, then you're going to come unstuck against a half-decent player. But actually, your opponent at a very basic level is going to make many mistakes during a game of chess. So if on every move you say, can I catch any of this guy's pieces, and also what is he trying to do with his last move, then I'd say 8 times out of 10 you're going to play better chess, because even if you don't know some of the more complicated stuff, then if you do the basics right and do the basics well, a bit like, straight line missions as well, then you're going to do much better than, trying to do things too soon and too quickly. What were the original preparations you took, and what were the most important learnings throughout your journey? Yeah, I'm going to approach this from a general point of view, because I suppose that could refer to the previous mission, but I'm going to say that it's more of a general straight line mission thing. On the first mission, I guess you wouldn't be surprised to learn that I basically did 0 preparation. I bought some clothes like the army camo. I bought a very cheap GPS system which I didn't know how to work properly. I bought very underwhelming food, hot noodles and the like. The amount of things that went wrong on that previous mission was quite incredible. So I suppose the concept of making mistakes and learning from the mistakes is very important with something like this. You have to be a bit self-critical, but more importantly willing to understand the mistakes and actually laugh at them a little bit and just say, that was obviously pretty stupid, I'm not going to do that again. Obviously I do them again, but I try not to. So I think I'm fairly self-deprecating in that respect. I don't, I know my own shortcomings, and therefore I'm more easily able to prepare for them. So I think that's a good thing to remember in life as well, and in chess definitely, but most of all in straight line missions. Okay, my legs are beginning to hurt, so I'm going to switch. Which would you say is your worst enemy? Fences or sheep? Right, well now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of it, which is great. Got to be honest, I think the fences were a real problem in the last mission. Sheep nowadays I'm all right with. First mission I was a little bit trepidatious because I didn't want to disturb the sheep and create a fuss, and because there was a farm in the background, which maybe you guys didn't see on that original edit, but if I'd have gone through those sheep, then I would have made them scatter and maybe attracted the attention of the farmer nearby. So that it wasn't less of a fear, more of a fear of drawing attention to myself. But yeah, I'm not the most agile bloke, so climbing fences has been one hell of an experience, shall we say. Right, now some more general questions by the sounds of it. What's your favourite food? Right, I would say I am partial to a bit of curry, so butter chicken, pilau rice, and a Peshwari naan with a glass of Chablis or maybe something else, Pinot Grigio. There you go, guys. What is your favourite movie or TV show? Well, actually, just behind where the camera is, I've got my my DVD collection, my CD collection, remember those, and also my vinyl collection. Well, looking from afar, Life on Mars I got there. It's one of my favourites. I've got Hustle, another great series there. Flight to the Conchords, and oh yeah, Big Train. So there's 4 TV series. In terms of films, I've got Goodbye Lenin. This is quite an eye test actually. So Goodbye Lenin, what have I got there? Back to the Future. I've got The Sting. I've got a couple of Russian films, a couple of French ones. I've got Lord of the Rings there. Got Yes Man. Got Watership Down. So quite a range there. But the problem is I don't have a DVD player, so I can't watch any of them. Right, what is your favourite band? I am a big fan of Roxy music, so I like 70s stuff in general, so stuff like David Bowie or Kate Bush or Dire Straits. But yeah, Roxy are my favourite, big fan of Brian Ferry. And if I had to name drop someone else, I'd say Pink Floyd. So yeah, that kind of era, more than the other. What are your politics? I'm not getting into this, I think probably for the best. All I'll say is not Reform UK. Have you ever tried indoor climbing or bouldering? Might be good training for future missions. Well, you're probably right, yes. I have tried it a couple of times. As you guys may have seen, I am terrified of heights. So I have been indoor climbing, but only to the extent that I hated it and never wanted to go near a climbing wall ever again. Maybe now that I'm a bit older I might give it another go, but I've not really had an excuse, and yeah, also I don't want to die. Would you consider attempting other types of challenge missions? I think there's still a lot of potential for creative ideas, like following a country's border as close as possible or something. Yeah, actually, I mean, I've had a few ideas. I mean, actually, the border concept is quite cool. I'm actually quite interested in borders in general. I mean, I was always interested in like the Cold War and stuff like that. So I'm always fascinated to know when I'm crossing a border and the difference between the 2 countries on either side of it and that kind of thing. So that might actually be quite appealing. I've always wanted to do a golf-related challenge, and that sounds ridiculous, but but I've heard of challenges where people try and hit a golf ball across a country or whatever. And I thought, well, I could try one where I start at the west coast of the Isle of Wight or something and try and hit a golf ball across the island to the east coast or something. I haven't decided yet, but yeah, something like that would be quite fun. I've also got a chess-related challenge up my sleeve where it's like, imagine a giant chessboard where the squares are about 100 meters square, and in order to move a piece you've got to go from the square you're moving to the square you want to go to by walking from one checkpoint to another. So I thought maybe something like that would be quite fun, because then you could try it in an urban setting or a rural setting, and depending on the the quality of the play, you could make the terrain a bit more difficult to pass. So, if GeoWizard wants to give me a game, I'll try it out with him maybe. Why don't you like sandwiches? Yeah, a bit of a weird one this. When I was about 4, in my class at school, my reception teacher told us this story about a guy called Gordon who was having a picnic and fell asleep when he was eating his sandwich, and a worm crawled into the sandwich, and then he was about to eat it, but then a crow flew down and yanked the worm out. But ever since then, I've actually never eaten a sandwich as a sandwich. I always take them apart. So even when we had our celebratory burgers at Ardmere, when we completed the mission, yes, GeoWizard was intrigued by the fact that I took my burger apart and ate it with a knife and fork. But yeah, one of those sort of weird habits, or I don't know. Yeah, strange. But will you enter another Crazy Golf World Championship or something similar? So yeah, so 3 times in the last few years I have entered, yes, the World Crazy Golf Championship in Hastings. Anyone can actually enter. It's not like you have to qualify, not yet anyway. I think the best I've done is 74th or something. So yeah, it is fun. I quite like these really sort of unusual, namely quite British championships. That I think that I always get British world champions at Crazy Golf or Tiddlywinks or stuff like that, or rock paper scissors. I don't know, something about us that's tolerates eccentrics, and I kind of indulge that, I would say. What is your favourite chess move? Now, I mean, there is a board right behind the camera. In fact, there's a board over there as well, and over there. But I'm gonna make this a bit more abstract. There is a name of an opening that I quite like playing called Nimzo Indian Defence. So if you want to look that up, you can. I also play the move Knight H5 more often than I should, and a couple of people in my chess club have noted this and keep flagging it up. Knight H5 is a move with a knight to the edge of the board, which is normally not considered to be good because it reduces the knight's mobility. But in certain situations it might be strong for whatever reason. But yeah, the times that I play it aren't necessarily those occasions. What do you love most about teaching? Actually, that's a really good question. I actually, what I most enjoy is seeing the progress, particularly of kids where they're lacking a bit of confidence, or they want to just have a bit of fun, and you can see the progress and the enjoyment of these kids during my clubs normally. And I like the fact also that I'm independent, so I'm not working for a boss or anything. So what I put into my work is ultimately what I get out of it. And I've also got a vested interest. I run this junior club on Thursday evenings. It's got over 70 kids in it in a minute, and there's this sort of constant conveyor belt of talent that goes along, and then we get the best kids joining our adult club, and then the kids then join the adult teams, and then our teams get stronger and bigger and more powerful. So from my point of view, it's a little bit like creating an empire on a slightly less imperialist level. But I like the idea that I'm kind of shaping these kids' journey, and that's quite satisfying in a lot of ways. So yeah, good question. Right, final question. What adventures are on your front burner, and what adventures are on your back burner? Well, I guess you're implying that I've got a burner at all, but I guess front burner, I'm actually looking at making some short videos quite soon. I've got a friend called Pietro who goes to my chess club in Epsom, and he's been doing really well with his YouTube channel making chess shorts. So I'm looking at potentially giving that a go, thanks to his inspiration. And also I'm hoping to do some more outdoor stuff. I don't want to go into the details just yet, but yeah, I've got a few ideas in mind. There's that chess adventuring idea, and maybe another straight line mission, who knows, I don't know. Not at the minute, I will say that, but possibly in the future. And yeah, I think just getting out and about. I also set myself a September challenge to become the #1 attendee at the gym, and I was successful. So I think having these little challenges month on month are very good, not only for your physical health, especially with something like the gym, but also mental health, as I mentioned earlier. So yeah, try to set yourself a little challenge, even if it's just, you know, eating 1 apple a day. It's something like that, you know, just a little thing here and there. And I think getting into good habits, trying to do the things you enjoy, and try and meet up with people and talk to people as often as you can, and you know, maybe subscribe to me on YouTube. Definitely. Speaking of which, just one final thing. I know I've mentioned this before, but thank you very much to everyone who donated to my fundraiser. We raised close to 1,200 quid. We're gonna put that into our Epsom Chess Club kitty, effectively, and I'm gonna do a video in about a month or so, hopefully, to explain how we're using these funds, and just to give you a bit of behind the scenes footage of the club in action. So yeah, lots of potential videos coming up. I hope I've got the time to do it. I always find like, you know, the week goes by so quickly and I never have a chance, but I will get round to it. So thank you again for following my channel and just, you know, being so supportive. I always read all the comments that you guys make, so, you know, thank you very much. It makes me feel very good about myself. So I will see you in the next video, whenever that is.